Hey there, Goblin Horde. I am the Goblin King, and today's news is a continuation of yesterday's news. We have a bit more information that's come out about the dude, Isaiah Lee, who attacked Dave Chappelle on stage the other night at the Hollywood Bowl. We have an interview with the dude's brother from that female ejaculate-stiffened wank sock called Rolling Stone. Oh, wait. We've suddenly remembered what a woman is in the last few days, haven't we? So I guess I'll just call Rolling Stone a sad ejaculate sock then. At least up to the point where we're not all biologists again. Also, we have some wonderfully moronic takes about the whole incident coming in from those dumb assholes over at The View. In particular, Joy Behar. All that in mind, we have a rather full segment today, so let's get into it. I guess first of all we'll go into the wank rag and get a little bit more info on the crazy fuck who decided it was a good idea to try to attack Dave Chappelle. Like I said above, this is from an interview the wank sock did with Isaiah's older brother, Aaron. Lee's brother Aaron Lee tells Rolling Stone that Isaiah has been in and out of shelters in Hollywood, California for much of the last decade and has lots of friends in the transgender community. Still, Aaron doesn't believe his brother would lash out as an act of activism against Chappelle, who recently drew ire from the LGBTQ community for jokes about trans people. Quote, "I don't have anything negative to say about Isaiah. He's a performing artist who tries to stay as positive as possible. He does have a history of mental health issues. He does take medicine. Maybe he missed out on taking his prescription, but he's not the type to just lash out. I don't understand," Aaron, 31, says. As you can see here, Isaiah Lee is literally a crazy person. His brother straight up admits that throughout this interview. He tries to dissemble, of course, consistently stating that he doesn't understand why his brother would do something like that. Multiple times he references that his brother is on meds and gives examples of when he might do something like this, but he truly doesn't understand. Now, granted, I'd probably do the same thing too. It's not like it's easy to understand the thought patterns of someone who's very apparently mentally ill, especially somebody who's most likely taking antipsychotics. It's like Tim Pool says, you know. He's not afraid of the average slacktivist, even though most of them are obviously mentally unstable as well. He's afraid of the dude who gets it in his head that you've stolen all the spoons and are working in tandem with the lizard people from the center of the earth to hide the spoons on the moon in some nefarious plot. Isaiah's brother mentions that the dude's been homeless since he was a young boy of 11, in and out of shelters, has a lot of friends in the supposed trans community, and takes meds. He doesn't state what the meds are, but if you follow the train of logic back from the Dave Chappelle incident, they're most likely antipsychotics. Due to this, the most likely reason he attacked Dave is because, for whatever reason, he's not taking his meds. Fixated on Dave Chappelle, had a psychological episode, and it resulted in this incident. Quote, "I don't understand how this happened. He's a gentleman. He is a kind, humble, nice person," he adds. "Maybe if he was getting picked on, maybe he would defend himself, but I don't understand why he would attack anybody. That doesn't make any sense," he says. When he's on his meds, he's probably a sweet kid, but all it takes is one episode and you can do something like this. The motivations behind the attack probably don't make sense, but the sequence of events, if you think about them for about 0.25 seconds, make perfect sense. Which leads us right along into The View and Joy Behar and her company of woke dipshits. This is coming from an article in the New York Post, which sometimes gets it right, and sometimes gets it very, very wrong. This time, however, it seems to be coming out right. So those ignorant cows over at The View decided they wanted to weigh in on the happenings over Dave Chappelle getting attacked as well. Now, this Post article paints this chick, Sunny Hostin, as the primary antagonist of this situation. Not just in the headline either. It kind of does it a couple times throughout the article, but it was actually that twant Joy Behar that fired the first moronic volleys in Trump's direction. In case you were all wondering what a twant is, it's my own personal word that combines twit and cunt. Therefore, twant. So firstly, Whoopi opens up the discussion on Dave Chappelle, and we all know what a bright and shining beacon of intellect she is, but she opens up the discussion by asking what the fuck is going on in the country. I mean, that's quite easy to answer actually, but we'll digress from answering that question now, and go ahead to Behar's stunning and brave response where she says, quote, The pandemic, the opioid crisis, the fact that Trump was out there saying things like, just knock the hell out of them, I promise you I'll pay for the legal fees, when he had a heckler. They argue for a few seconds, and Behar then adds in that Will Smith slapping Chris Rock was obviously the pièce de résistance for the whole thing, but continues to insist that the whole thing started with Trump. While Sonny Hostin, sort of in the background, adds in the whole, quote, I do think Trump unleashed some incivility at least in our country. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but that's really all I heard her say in the small clip that I watched. To me, the first place trophy for the dumbass Olympics rests firmly on Behar's shoulders for this one. Hostin would come in at second place, at best. Now, anybody who's been paying attention all of these years, or who at least has went back and looked at the history of this culture war in which we find ourselves embroiled, knows that this shit didn't start with Trump. Not at all. Trump was a catalyst of a conflict that had already been raging in this country for several years by that point. You can trace this shit all the way back to Gamergate in 2012, and that was 4 years before Trump ever took office. That was firmly within the Obama administration's seat. You can even go back probably as far as 2008, when Obama first took office, and find evidence of shit brewing even back then. I mean, how often did the mainstream press call anyone who had reservations, disagreed with, or just didn't want to vote for Obama a racist? Or at least imply that they may be. No, the true catalyst behind all the division and anger in this country lies in two places. One, with the mainstream media with their constant flow of divisive-ass narratives and outright lies about people they disagree with. And two, with the liberal elites in Hollywood and pushing the same dumbass narratives. Oh, a third place too with the colleges. However, this attack on Dave Chappelle isn't politically motivated, at least not in standard politics. It seems to be rooted within identity politics if what we know about Isaiah Lee is true. The fault, of course, lies firmly, again, within the mainstream media and the liberal elites in Hollywood, as I stated yesterday. All in all, Joy Behar and the dried-up bats with the View are pretty much all fucking morons, and that's all I have to say about this, folks. As always, these are my opinions and nothing more. You can give me your opinions in that handy section down below. While you're down there, don't bother looking for the brains of anyone on The View. I don't think they've ever possessed them. If you like what I'm doing and you want to do me a solid, you can join my big green horde by crushing those like and subscribe buttons. Like a goblin. If you've watched the video this long, I appreciate you. I'll see you all later for an anime review. See you then. Lates.